And so with Joel Linder's passing, let's not use this to place judgment on him or others, but let's use this time to reflect on our own journeys in health and fitness. Coach Greg, in today's video, we're going over what Athlean-X said about Joel Linder's death. He has a big concern and he wants everyone to hear about it. Jeff Cavaliere has been in the fitness industry for a very long time. He graduated high school when Joel Linder was born. And so Jeff making this video when he doesn't normally speak about these things, it shows that it's very important to him. He's very passionate about people getting into fitness and doing it 100% natural. Social media can be very toxic, and because there's so much pressure to look a certain way, many people are being tempted to use performance-enhancing drugs. And we all know that Joel Linder openly talked about everything he did, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and that we don't know for sure if that's the cause of what happened, but we do know that it for sure can increase its risks.
There are some instances where he even just discussed like a mini war he was waging because of his PED use against gynecomastia, and having to use an aromatase inhibitor to combat the gyno, but having the side effect of lowering libido.
And as a result of this, Joe ended up getting gynecomastia surgery to remove the breast tissue that formed in his pecs. When most people start using performance-enhancing drugs, they normally do so at a very young age, and they're not thinking of the negative consequence of doing so. They're thinking about all the positives. I'm going to put on a lot of muscle, perhaps burn a lot of fat, get that dream physique much faster than last time. But the problem is, oftentimes when you take one thing, it causes other problems in the body and you have to take something else. Pretty soon you're on a concoction of various things, and this is not good for your health.
And when you have to start taking other drugs to combat side effects that happen from the other drugs that you're on, it becomes a really, really nasty war that becomes, I think, very much a psychological struggle as well.
And so unless you're being prescribed something by your doctor and being monitored, you're actually being foolish. You're playing Russian roulette with your health. You do not know what these drugs are going to do. And so despite the fact that you see some of us, for example, myself on HRT, it doesn't mean that you should be taking it.
Likewise, he talked about when you get off of steroids, the psychological downflow that happens when you are left with less of the gains that you became accustomed to having.
And what Joe describes, the feelings when you go off, that you lose that muscle that you had, that you can't keep the same physique.
When you go natty, the shoulders and the traps just don't pop that much anymore.
Yeah.
And then the clothing just look different.
It doesn't fit you the same.
That's why I'm saying don't even start using that stuff, bro, because you might get hooked.
Joel Linder and Noel Diesel speak to this in length. When they go off cycle, perhaps they're on HRT or they're cycling completely off, you're losing a lot of muscle. You don't fill out your t-shirts the same way. This can result in body dysmorphia. You don't feel good in your own skin. The reflection you see in the mirror, it's not one that you enjoy, and so the result of this is you go back to taking the performance-enhancing drugs.
Mentally, emotionally, that's a roller coaster. So coming off really isn't pleasant, and it's the mental discipline that you need in order to push through that.
Noel Diesel himself suffers from body dysmorphia. He's described this in his videos. He does not feel jacked and swole, despite the fact he's close to 300 pounds.
That's tragic to me. That's tragic because the people in this industry are good at hiding pain.
One other thing Jeff doesn't mention is the struggles that Joel Linder had with his hunger. He was always hungry. He was drinking 4 liters of caffeine-free coffee a day to keep his hunger at bay. The pressure to look shredded all the time for the average person, it's already bad enough. But imagine being Joel Linder, trying to maintain 6% body fat year-round. And even Jeff Cavaliere himself. He says, compared to Joel Linder, it made him look fat.
Joe was an anomaly. He makes me look fat.
Raise your hand if you think anyone makes Jeff Cavaliere look fat. Nobody. Jeff Cavaliere himself is always shredded 365 days a year. Guy's 47 years old, has single-digit body fat year-round. He eats carrot cake once a year, doesn't drink alcohol, lives the perfect life to have the perfect physique. He states himself that when he started going to the gym, it's to battle insecurities. Many people, they suffer with insecurities, and they think that if they get that dream physique, that's going to somehow change themselves on the inside. I can tell you that it's not. Lifting weights, sure, it builds your physique, makes you look better, perhaps builds your confidence. But if you don't change yourself from within, from the inside, just because you look better, it's not going to change anything. If you're unhappy and you're fat and you lose 100 pounds, you're going to be unhappy and thin. Getting your dream physique, it's not the cure, it's simply a band-aid. You need to self-reflect, work on the inside. If your house is falling apart and you put on brand new shingles and you walk in the house, it's still a mess. You need to fix your house on the inside, then worry about the exterior later.
This community can be incredibly positive. Don't get swayed by the many haters in the community that, again, pretend to be part of it, but instead just like to drag people down by pointing out the things that they don't like about you.
And so just to prove how toxic the industry is, we have a guy who turned pro recently, Good Vito, and he's guest posing before he does his first show. He's doing so to get the crowd pumped up. He's involved in this. He's having the time of his life. He decides to go into the crowd, jumping off the stage, and possibly hurt his knee, tearing his ACL. And so rather than wishing him a speedy recovery, saying something nice, people point out, oh, look at his hernia. Look at his navel. Oh, this, drug, that. Oh my goodness. Bad Vito. Get that navel fixed, bro. The belly buttons on these guys is horrible looking. I never saw Dorian or Jay Cutler with this. Looks way better in pictures, geez. All that mass, it's unnatural. Of course he's going to get hurt by doing something like that. And so he's developed a hernia like many of us has. Oftentimes pregnant women get the same thing. And so it's a very common injury. And people are pointing at his flaws rather than saying, look at the shape this guy's in. And so what do you think that's going to do to him? He's going to think, wow, people are putting me down. They don't think I'm in shape. He's going to diet that much harder, perhaps abuse even more performance-enhancing drugs because the people are tearing him down. Stupid jumper. 300-pound bodybuilders shouldn't be jumping.
People that get to hide behind their keyboards and type like this and say nasty comments are not part of the community.
And that's typical of social media. The bigger you get, the more popular you get, the more haters you get, the more people are trying to take you down. Rather than other people trying to work harder, people are looking to take yourself down a notch. It's a lot easier to put someone down than to bring your own self up. But remember, a rising tide raises all ships. All the ships can rise together. And so with Joel Linder's passing, let's not use this to place judgment on him or others, but let's use this time to reflect on our own journeys in health and fitness. The use of performance-enhancing drugs carries its risks. It can, in fact, shorten your lifespan. And so ask yourself, is it worth it? Are you trying to look a certain way to fix yourself on the inside? Because if it is, it's not going to work. I can guarantee you that by building in a ton of muscle, losing body fat, it's not changing how you feel on the inside. To change yourself on the inside requires you to work on the inside, not change the exterior shell you're walking around in.
Joe was an anomaly. He makes me look fat.
Case in point, he does not make Jeff Cavalier look fat. Not even slightly.
When you're in that position as a one-of-one, though, there's a lot of attention that comes your way.
And so Jeff Cavalier speaks to how influential Joel Linder was. 8 or 9 million followers, loved by his fans, highly motivational. But remember, there are others like this. Chris Bumstead, close to 18 million followers. The most popular fitness model in the entire world. He's recently made a video. Talked about the one drug he would never take again, that being tren.
What are the things that for you are like off the table with regards to this is too much, this is too risky for me?
The biggest one is like tren.
Yeah.
The good old tren.
And yeah, I agree with him. Tren is more dangerous than many of the other things you can take. But remember, none of them are safe. None. Don't care what the dose is, where you got it, if it's farm grade or made in someone's kitchen. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter!
What does matter, what is important is every single drug that you decide to put in your body, it carries a certain risk.
There are going to be people out there, no matter what people attribute the actual cause of death to, who will relate to whatever the thing is that's most convenient for them.
And so before doing anything, before being peer pressured to do something that you don't want to do, ask yourself, is it worth it?
The opportunity is to assess the potential risk for yourself, and if you believe those risks are too high, then stop what you're doing.
And Chris Bumstead himself speaks to how dangerous it is that on social media, it's so popular to openly discuss performance-enhancing drugs. The word tren synonymous with developing the dream physique.
The good old tren that like there's guys who literally like base their social media off that now. It's just like a meme of the internet, the gym culture.
Some of the most popular guys on the internet, their literal names on the internet, the Trend Twins, yet they're not even on trend. Remember, I was coaching them. And so please be careful. We don't want to glorify the use of performance-enhancing drugs. And when you're in your 20s, or perhaps many of you are even teenagers, you don't think anything can happen to you. I didn't. I never thought that way, but as you get older, when you become more mature, more wise, perhaps like Jeff Cavalier or even myself, you can reflect and look back and think, wow, I shouldn't have done those things. Probably wasn't the smartest. And so rather than thinking as a 20-year-old what you should or shouldn't do, perhaps listen to people who are older. People who are wiser. They've gone through it. They've been in your shoes. They were younger ones, and they can give you advice on what you should or shouldn't do at an early age. Chris Bumstead started using performance-enhancing drugs at 18. He was a teenager. Should he have done so? Of course not. But you're seeing his success now. So many people want to be the next Chris Bumstead. Over 10 million followers. So many people want to be Joe Lindner. Super popular, incredible dream physique. But is it worth it? I can tell you right now that if Joe were with us right now, he would not want anyone to abuse performance-enhancing drugs. Ask yourself, should you be taking this? Are you being monitored by your doctor? Because if you're not, probably shouldn't do it. Chris Bumstead himself said, I don't care how good I am. If I'm about to win the Olympia title, if my health markers are off, I'm going to stop. But one problem is no matter how much blood work you're taking, no matter what you're doing, as Joe Lindner was very proactive with his health, he was getting his blood work done, he was being monitored, he was doing everything as safe as humanly possible. But the unfortunate truth is you will never know. You cannot see all the damage that you're doing just by getting your blood work done. It's not going to happen. And so I'd like to end this video by saying, please be careful. If you're on the fence of using performance-enhancing drugs, don't do it. And if you are, get monitored by your doctor, because if you're not, you're playing Russian roulette with your health. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algorithm. Don't forget to watch any of the tube loops. And of course, cookbooks, training books, coaching plans by me and my team. And of course, the newest cookbook, Cookbook 3.0, the hard copy and PDF is available. You can get any of these books on my website, as well as the Harder Than Last Time supplements. And until next time, I am out.